Welcome back to the Wealth Boomerang Show. We're chatting to Yvie Britton, who's moved to Australia from Zimbabwe. Now, if you watch the TV or if you watch the news, all you see on Africa is there's starving children, there's mud huts, there's malaria, there's AIDS, there's poverty, there's these big animals that can kill you. What's some of the positive points about growing up in Africa?
One of the biggest things about growing up in Zimbabwe is that there's a big sense of family. Your whole entire family, not only just your brothers and sisters, but your dad's sisters and brothers, your dad's uncles and aunties, and your mum's aunts and uncles and sisters and brothers, and the whole entire second cousin removed. They basically all look after you like you're their own child, basically. And that's probably the one thing that is really, really positive in Zimbabwe, especially where I grew up. Your whole family raised you. It's, the saying that they say, it takes an entire village to raise a family. That's basically the experience you have. And as a result of that, you tend to have good-natured children coming from there, because you grow up knowing that even your neighbors look after you like their own child. And if you mess up, you get in trouble just the same as you would with your parents. So you are looked after, And I guess the other thing that is really good about Zimbabwe is just the food. The food is really good because it's 100% natural and there's no artificial things in it. And you can smell the lettuce from 2 rooms away. And, that's the type of food that we have. And yeah, it's just, it's not as war-stricken and poverty-stricken as you may see. There is another side to it.
It's only the bad news that gets on TV.
Exactly. There's electricity sometimes, but it's there. People watch cable, people go to school and drive in fancy cars, and they live lives like you live here. It's in Africa, and you go around the corner and there may be a lion.
So your family lived in a big house and
Yes.
cars and
Yes.
that sort of stuff?
Yes, we if by African standards, I guess we were well off, because I went to private schools all my life, and I just lived life as normal.
We have seen a picture of you standing in front of a mud hut, so I was just wondering, was that your house where you grew up?
No, that was my grandmother's house. She basically lives in the boonies, that's what they call it here, the boonies, the rural areas, which was about an hour away from our house. So you basically drive and there's monkeys and you see baboons and as you're going down the road, and then mud huts all of a sudden, so.
I guess probably similar to here. If you drive an hour or 2 from Brisbane, you see cows and horses and old farmhouses rather than high-rises.
And kangaroos, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very similar. It's quite amazing, even though Australia is very Western and Zimbabwe is considered as a third world country. The similarity in some of the things, there's a lot of nature here. I mean, you just go down the road and you can see a kangaroo. You go down the road, just down the road in Zimbabwe, you can see a baboon, and sometimes, depending on where you live, you can see a zebra, Not so much lions. You'd have to really go deep inside the bush area, but you wouldn't want to be going there anyway, But yeah, you get that sort of similarity, and of course, I can't think of anything else right now, but there are a lot of similar things that I see.
The unemployment is very high in Zimbabwe, reportedly over 90% unemployment.
That's
so
true.
You came to Australia to do your study so you could get a job, and then ended up owning your own business. So tell me a little bit about why you created your own business rather than getting a standard job.
Well, I was basically going to university because my parents, there's a big culture in Zimbabwe about university and your studies and going into a career like a doctor, journalist, lawyer, psychologist, whatever, anything with a title. That's a big thing in Zimbabwe because it's a form of prestige. Look, my child has had a degree in this thing, and so when I went, I had good intentions to listen to my parents because, I want to be a good child. And as I went on in the years, I realized that it actually wasn't what I wanted to do. I just was not feeling fulfilled in myself, and I could see my grades going down, and I wasn't happy in myself. I wasn't feeling like getting out of bed in the morning to go and study. But I loved doing hair. I loved braiding. I had always grown up doing it. So when I realized that I could do that, I immediately just changed to do hairdressing. So I went from university and I did the TAFE course, and I did that, and then I went deeper than that, and I decided to even go further, and I decided to have a hair braiding business.
Bit of a difference from accounting to hairstyling.
Yes.
Complete opposites.
Yes, I did do a complete 360, 180. Yeah, I did do one of those because I was always a loud, vibrant child growing up. So going into accounting was very, very lull, very, very dull. And so I needed to come back out of my shell again. And that's how I did it. I decided to do hairdressing. And further than that, I decided to do hair braiding, which is basically kind of going back to my roots.
Cool.
Yeah.
Roots.
Yeah, exactly.
You say Yvie Inc. is a lifestyle business, and you're obviously happier doing that than you were accounting.
Yes.
What suggestions would you give to other people who might want to start a business or in a job that they don't like?
I would say to them, just remember what you loved doing when you were a child and find a way to do that, because that will fulfill your destiny.
When I was a child, I liked playing in the mud and picking my nose, so I'm not sure I'd get a job doing that.
No.
Any other suggestions?
Probably just follow your dreams. What you do as a hobby is that should be what you do in life.
Cool. Cool. All right. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to have a bit of a chat about Australians, their attitude towards Africans, your attitude towards them, and how your attitude has made your business. So we'll be back in a moment.